The story begins shrouded in a heavy, dark atmosphere, where a woman's voice is heard singing a song that provokes fear and unease. In her chant, she claims that heart and tongue draw 5 points to form a united group or brotherhood, offering in exchange a sensation of ultimate bliss and the chance to be reborn in another body. Using seeds and soil, she summons an invisible presence. She surrenders her own ears and promises that this being will speak using her tongue, urgently beckoning it to come to her. Suddenly, the scene shifts abruptly and violently to a home filled with tension. A woman screams at her daughter, named Leah, calling her crazy and ordering her inside. The mother behaves strangely and distantly. Upon arrival, she coldly states she'll be late, shutting down any attempt by Leah to have a loving or close conversation. When Leah reminds her about a book signing event, her mother replies with total disinterest, telling her to do whatever she wants. Before leaving, the mother looks at a drawing on Leah's hand and makes a sarcastic comment, suggesting she should just get a real tattoo to look like a tough girl. At the book signing, Leah meets the author, a man named Rowan Dove. She praises his work but complains that he didn't explain the ritual steps in enough detail. Rowan becomes serious and warns her to be careful with those beliefs. He then explains to the crowd that the devil's function is not to create evil, but to drag it into the light from people's hearts to test their loyalty to God. Later, Leah and her friends, Rob and Janice, discuss these ideas. Janice comments that parents are just regular people who make mistakes, which hurts Leah because she feels her own family is falling apart. Upon returning home, the tension explodes. Her mother is waiting, furious because she called the school and found out Leah had lied to her. Distraught, the mother confesses she can't take it anymore. She says she doesn't recognize her own daughter and that the house suffocates her, reminding her daily of Leah's father's funeral. Without prior warning, she reveals she has already rented a place up north and is selling their current home. Leah reacts with desperation and curses as they are moving at the end of the month. Moving day is dreary and gray. Although the mother tries to cheer Leah up by making pancakes, they fight again about changing schools. Leah refuses to lose her friends and proposes driving herself, but her mother forbids it to maintain control over her. Finally, they reach an agreement. The mother will drive her back and forth every day, despite the long commute, so she doesn't have to change schools. The situation reaches its breaking point on a Saturday. After a complaint from Leah, the argument turns violent. The mother demands Leah respect her sacrifices and during a struggle, discovers a 5-pointed star, a pentagram, drawn on Leah's hand. She mocks her cruelly, comparing her to the criminal Charles Manson and criticizing her obsession with black magic since her father died. Leah defends her beliefs as her refuge, but her mother insults her friends and, completely broken, confesses something terrible. Every time she looks at Leah, she sees her dead husband's face and feels the urge to rip it off. In a fit of hatred, the mother screams that she wishes Leah were dead. Devastated by these words, Leah runs into the woods. Alone among the trees, Leah crosses a point of no return. She begins a dark ritual, using her pain to create 3 shadows with seeds and soil. She summons the entity named Fenya, or Pyewacket, offering her ears and her tongue. She urgently asks it to come and kill her mother, offering ecstasy and the mystery of rebirth in return. With terrifying resolve, she ends the ritual by calling the darkness by its name. Leah returns home injured and bleeding. When her mother sees her, her anger vanishes, replaced by guilt and fear. She tends to the wound lovingly, apologizing for the horrible things she said and hugging her. The next day, everything seems back to normal. They visit an antique store where the mother gets a weekend job and looks happy. However, Leah feels the weight of what she did the night before. During dinner, the mother mentions a car problem that almost ended badly, but views it as a stroke of luck. Taking advantage of the calm, she shares an emotional memory. She tells Leah that her father drove 13 hours non-stop to make it to her birth, and that he thanked God every night for a year for his daughter's existence. The mother sincerely apologizes for being harsh. But that night, the atmosphere feels heavy. Leah hears noises upstairs. They check together, and although they find no one, fear settles into the house. Leah begins to suspect her ritual wasn't a game, but that she really awakened something that now lives with them. Distressed, Leah tells her friends everything at school. Rob reacts poorly, calling her crazy and a liar. Leah insists it's true and admits, horrified, that her original intention was to summon something to end her mother. Rob, indignant, calls her a hypocrite for playing witch and then chickening out when it works, suggesting maybe she deserves to be tormented. The argument escalates until Janice intervenes and offers to sleep at Leah's house to investigate. That evening, the mother welcomes Janice kindly and prepares dinner, behaving very sweetly, a stark contrast to the angry woman from days before. After dinner, she leaves for work, leaving them alone. The friends try to distract themselves talking about boys, but Janice starts recording the room, looking for evidence of the supernatural. The tension returns when Janice notices the decor. The mother has changed everything except a collection of ceramic owls that are everywhere. Janice confesses she is terrified of them. She feels their huge eyes and spinning heads are watching them constantly. Janice's curiosity pushes her to insist on visiting the site where the ritual was performed. Although Leah doesn't want to go because it's dark, Janice convinces her using her phone flashlight, saying she came to see this. They walk into the woods until they reach the circle of trees where Leah points out the disturbed earth. The place gives off a sinister vibe that both can feel. Suddenly, Janice acts strangely and moves away into the thicket, breathing rapidly. Terrified, Leah screams for her to come back. Janice turns around laughing. It was all just a cruel prank to scare her. Leah, her nerves shattered, yells at her for her stupidity, and they return to the house. Leah goes to her room and Janice stays on the couch. The next morning, Janice has disappeared. They find her locked inside the mother's car, shivering and staring at nothing. When they manage to open the door, Leah tries to console her, but Janice reacts with total panic, screaming at her not to touch her and refusing to re-enter the house. Confused, the mother agrees to take her home immediately. At school, Janice's absence is glaring. Friends ask, but Leah doesn't know what to say. Janice isn't answering messages and has completely isolated herself from everyone. The situation worsens when the mother announces she has to work the next day, leaving Leah home alone and forced to take the bus. Feeling trapped, Leah contacts Rowan Dove, the book's author, begging for help. Rowan responds and calls her. With an expert tone, he explains that she is facing a malignant spirit like Pyewacket, which is extremely manipulative. By performing the ritual with faith, Leah served as a bridge for the entity to cross into this world. Rowan warns her with a fatalistic tone. Black magic always returns to the maker. Once the entity fulfills the request, it will hurt the person who invoked it. The only way out is to perform the same ritual in reverse, at the exact same spot, and sincerely beg for forgiveness before it's too late. Before hanging up, Rowan issues a final warning. The spirit is a deceiver that can shapeshift. Leah must not trust what her eyes see. With that warning in mind, Leah runs to the woods to reverse the ritual. However, the darkness plays a trick on her. Upon reaching the site, her heart stops. She finds her mother's motionless body lying on the ground. The shock is total, but confusion explodes when, simultaneously, she hears her mother's voice screaming her name, but the sound doesn't come from the body, but from somewhere else. Desperate, not knowing what is real and what is an illusion, she calls 911 crying and reports that her mother is dead. The operator fills her with terror by asking, "Who is that person screaming in the background?" Leah, stunned because the operator hears impossible screams if her mother is dead in front of her, hangs up in panic. She calls Aaron, her friend, begging him to pick her up. He hesitates, but hearing Leah's desperate screams, he agrees. The body on the ground seems to move, and terror drives Leah to flee back to her house. She receives a message from Aaron saying he has arrived, but when she goes out, it isn't him. It's her mother, alike standing there and acting with frightening coldness, ordering her inside. Remembering the warning about shapeshifting, Leah enters with suspicion, convinced this woman is not her mother, but the disguised entity. Inside, the mother interrogates her about where she was. Fear leads Leah to arm herself with a knife to protect herself from the monster. The confrontation escalates to the attic, where Leah hides, trembling. The mother follows her and, seeing the weapon, switches from an aggressive tone to a maternal one, trying to calm her down to get her to drop the knife. Leah, firmly believing she is being manipulated by Pyewacket, refuses to let go. Later, while the mother sleeps, Leah makes a fatal decision to destroy the entity. She douses the room in gasoline, and when the figure wakes up confused by the smell, Leah lights the fire, watching as the flames consume the room with the silhouette inside. Sometime later at a police station, Leah sits across from an officer, totally devastated. He plays the 911 call. Leah's screams and confusion are heard. Then the officer reveals the truth that shatters her reality. They searched the woods and found no body. With inevitable brutality, he informs her that the only corpse found was inside the house, burned. Leah understands with horror that the spirit used a visual illusion in the woods to make her believe her mother had died, tricking her into seeing her real mother as an imposter. In her attempt to defend herself against the evil, Leah murdered her own mother. The officer asks her to explain how the fire started, leaving Leah trapped in an eternal cycle of guilt for falling into the trap she herself summoned.